Hello, everybody. This is CARA ST, and that right there, that's Sethikus Boza, and I am so excited to have him here. We have been dying to have a chat. We have been dying to have a chat because he's doing some amazing work, some work that I completely respect, that resonates very deeply with the kind of work that I'm doing. Because of what he's doing, he has strikes me now as somebody who's walking a very close song line. I like to use that those metaphors which come out of Dreamtime with the Aborigines in Australia. You know, they walk these song lines, which are actually, you know, ley lines. Anyway, some of us are just kind of walking closely together, crossing over a little bit, and helping each other generate energy on the path. And also, one of the things I love about Sethikus is that he's been working on helping people remember who they are for a long time. This is really authentic. That is something that is so crucial right now. We are at the crossroads. I say this all the time. It's the turn of the tide, and the people who are truly stepping up and helping pull people up out of the pit and remember who they are is your destiny. Yeah? And he will have probably lots to say about how that comes to you. What is your destiny? Which way are you going? It's authentic. It's authentic. I'll tell you that right now, and I can tell it is. So I did tell him, I warned him, I was going to call him the captain of the ship of blackearthproductions. I do come up with this silliness sometimes.
The captain. Right here.
He agreed to let me do that. I want to say some things about him because they are absolutely true. He's a mage. He's a mage in a time when the original magicians are starting to stand back up again, not sus guys. He's a shaman, very much in a blood-spirit relationship with the Norse cosmology. That's probably a pretty simplistic way to put his arena, and I look forward to that. And we're both, like I said, we're both kind of working on systems that help people remember their own authenticity. So that being the case, he's automatically a brother, and I have to know what he has to say. I have to know, and I have to tell you what he knows. So thanks for coming, Sethikus. I'm really excited. Yeah.
Thank you, Cora, for having me. It's actually an honor to be on here with you. I've been aware of your works and the things that you've been presenting for a few years now, and yeah, the unfoldment of what I'll say is being developed in this hour does all come back to a very personal gnosis, because it's not enough to know what's going on around us. We've been on this shit for quite a while now, you know, and what happens with a lot of it is that people will hit a ceiling, okay? They'll hit a ceiling, and then they get thrown back into the feedback loops and time loops and patterns and old ways of being and thinking, because they don't know how to access what's beyond it. So it's not enough to know thy enemy. We must know thyself. And that has been the focus of what I've been developing since last year in 2016. I came back onto the circuit and started with the Basis project, and then it kind of unfolded from there. But I've been through very real shamanic initiations. I'm not some book read, you know, individual that just got online and read a couple articles and watched some fucking videos, and now all of a sudden I know something because I posted something on Facebook. You know, this has been not just a lifelong journey in this timeline, but this has been going on, I'll say, with me and my connection with my lineage, going back in context at least 40,000 to 300,000 years.
Yeah.
Okay, and this is history that was there for me to unfold. I was always doing it from a place coming from within myself, coming from an inner knowing that I didn't understand. This has always been with me. I've explained some things in other segments and interviews that I've invited onto. But it's what needs to happen if things are going to go to the next level. Because the very first layer, the perimeter of the lower astral programming, getting into AI and all this fucking bullshit that people are talking about when it comes to the matrix and all of that, the very first layer of it is black magic. And people still can't accept the fact that we are up against elite bloodline sorcerers that have lineages going back a very, very, very long time. See, on the highest levels, everything going on in our reality field all goes back to the brotherhoods. It goes back to the betrayals that have taken place with our brothers and sisters in context. The fact is they cannot access what our kind can, because they themselves are not willing to go through the true biospiritual regenesis to first of all heal and go into their lineage and face all of the shit that not only their ancestors brought upon, you know, their bloodlines, but what they have brought upon other people. Now, some of us did incarnate, I'll say, into these bloodlines specifically. This is what happened with me, for the sole purpose of cleansing and purging the bloodline, so that the soul cycle can be caught up, and then, of course, getting back onto the original timeline. Because there's nobody else in my family that really understands the things that I know, and it pretty much all came on me. And my name Boza, the name Boza literally means keepers of the sacred tree.
Okay. Oh, brilliant. I love that. Absolutely love that. First of all, let's talk about initiation. Let's talk about that for a sec, okay? Because people don't get what when we come here, people like you and me, and lots and lots of people, it's a constant state of initiation that we're in. It is a constant from the minute we're born. We are being initiated, and it's messed up a lot of the time, okay? But we also know that's what's going to happen when we come in. We agree to that. It's an agreement. We know why we came here. Okay? This constant, unrelenting initiation. It has to do, in my experience, Sethikus, this may not be your experience, but I'd be surprised if it wasn't. This reiteration of all the initiations that we've gone through the ages, it's a reiteration of each one of those as we go through. Understand what's happening here, folks. I don't care anymore. There are certain things that if we talk about them, people will recognize what we're talking about, and they will understand what's happening to them. And this constant, unrelenting state of initiation. I come from a bloodline this time around that was supposed to die out, and I broke the rules. And there were 3 warriors that wanted to come through me, and they did. And they've been under a constant state of attack since they got here. But they're here for the same reason that you and I are here, Sethikus. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So yeah. Anyway.
And that's what I'm talking about in context to catching up the soul cycles. Those of us that did come in, we knew what we were getting into on a higher level. You take a risk coming in. You take a risk incarnating because of the whole concept of the memory wipe and all of that.
Yeah.
I was targeted when I was an infant. Okay, and they got half of the original templates that I came in with, and this is getting into the original consciousness that mankind once held within the true core essence of who they are. Okay, this is what we are trying to remember. The advent of everything that is unfolding, eventually, no matter what the fuck people think, it is going to come back to this in trajectory. Okay. Now, the way it unfolds with you, me, other people, depending on blood codes, depending on soul codes, depending on what you're keyed into, what you're not keyed into, getting into genetics and consciousness will determine a lot of different things. And the way that it works for you is not the same way that it works for me. It's not the same way it works for somebody else. And so unless we know what we have to work with, and this is why getting into the arts of gnosis is so damn important. And this is what I am doing with the Blue Flame Healing Arts and occult science, is getting people in the position to start unfolding these things, to know the system mechanics of gnosis, to know thyself before they actually come into the place of being able to wield the energy, force, and magic correctly without completely fucking up their lives. Right. Everything that I do, everything that I'm doing to create, not only for myself, because I first did this for myself. This is a path that I'm walking. This is what I live, and it works. Everything that I do, though, I take it back to the first cosmic law. It's all about your state of mind. And the mind is not what most people think it is. It's nothing to do with the hemispheres of your brain. This is your radar. Thought and emotion, Odin's crows, Hugin and Munin.
Yes, absolutely.
Thought and memory are the radar that we have to be able to gauge the reality field, not just on a physical level, but on a multidimensional level once you start activating from within yourself. Mm-hmm. And so the first cosmic law, it's all state of mind. Everything in the universe is a mental projection. Yeah. Getting into the cosmology of the ancestors, getting into not just the physical aspect of it, but the cosmic aspect of it. I've heard you mention in your works Theta.
Yes, okay. The planet, yeah.
Theta, Vega, Lyra. Okay, these, I'll say, star systems are within us. The heavens above are within us. And until people recognize that even things like the Saturn moon matrix are within us. And if you don't know what your moon is, you don't know what your Saturn is, you don't know how this is potentially manipulating you on an individual level, because the way that it unfolds, like I said, is different with other people. Now, these are all things that we have to work with. Mm-hmm. It's just a question of know thyself. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And what, like I said, what you're keyed into, what you're not keyed into.
Right.
Stuff like that.
Okay, so let's talk about that for a second then. Let's talk about, because one of the people who made it really easy for me to kind of get a feeling for what we're talking about is this Italian physicist, her last name is Giovanna Conforto, something like that, but her last name is Conforto. And her physics is that the planets, because we have to have a way, right now we're in a 3D situation. We have to have a way to understand this and put it in words. And the way that she describes it is that all of the planets are really nested inside each other. There's not a bunch of planets. There's one sort of, it's so hard to talk about this. There's one area where all the planets are. And not only that, but the Earth, the one that we love so much, the one that has more value than any other planet in the solar system, by far, has a baby son, has a son in the middle of it, okay? And as we stand from here, what we think we see out there is strictly because of the fractal nature of our vision, of our surrounding, okay? It's almost like it's all like a cracked mirror out there. We're not really seeing anything out there. And the Earth itself has had several incarnations, which is why it's easy to talk about, which is why it's possible to talk about it being billions of years old. It's possible to talk about the Fae arriving here billions of years ago. It's possible for you to talk about being around for 40,000 to 300,000 years. Mm-hmm. But this is such that's just on a physical level. Yeah. That I've been able to trace back from within myself, getting into blood codes. Okay. Mm-hmm. And even taking it now to a cosmic level, talking about the things that you're saying, this is going back millions and billions of years. Right. But the truth of the Norns is this: past, present, and future are all happening simultaneously. That's right. And so everything that was there within the past is in the present. Everything that's in the future is in the present now. And so when I say to people, I hail from the ancient future, it begins to make a lot more sense. Right. Once people dive into these things. And that's the other issue. People still do not know the occult. They still have an exoteric, quote unquote, information level type of way of seeing things, but they still haven't come
into a place of accessing proper knowledge, let alone wisdom.
Right.
Because knowledge without wisdom, as far as I'm concerned, is useless. Wisdom is when you're able to take that proper knowledge and put it into action.
Right.
Okay.
So
because it's not enough to know about something. It's not enough to know about the AI. It's not enough to know about the government and the financial system and the corporations and the chemtrails and the GMO and on and on and on it goes. The wars, the divisions, the schizophrenia that people are fucking dealing with.
Right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then we all end up talking.
That's all first veil.
Yes. Yes.
That's all first veil. And I've shared that I'm going to be doing a presentation called Labyrinth of the Nine Veils. And that's something that is still in the works. Mm-hmm. And I'm literally going to be giving people a map to be able to navigate, not just through the first veil, but all 9 worlds. And this is getting into Yggdrasil. Okay. This is getting into the spindle of the energy force itself. As far as I'm concerned, with the knowledge that's come to me with the higher occult sciences, it's a part of something that was fragmented off, broken off from the original intention, and is some of the most ancient knowledge that we can access within ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Right. Getting into the archetypes, getting into, Odin, Sunar, Freya, all of these things. See, these are archetypes that we have within us to work with.
Right. Mm-hmm.
When you hear people say God is within you, this is what we're talking about when it comes to consciousness and genetics. It doesn't mean that you are that. We are who we create ourselves. Right. But if we don't know what we're working with, we're not going to get back to the place onto the original timeline that we are meant to be on, so that we can evolve. Otherwise, we're going to stay in the same feedback loops that mankind has been caught in for the last 26,000 years within the 5th cycle. The thing is, though, this year in 2017, we've reached the end of the great year. And now we are literally on the threshold of coming in trajectory back onto where we are supposed to be, so that these things can unfold, so that we do remember who the fuck we are, and then complete the work of the ancestors that started eons ago. Again, past, present, and future is all happening simultaneously. Okay, what are we going to do? What are we going to co-create with one another? And it doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter if we're spread out all across the planet. We can pull this together in a way that's never been done before, as far as I'm concerned.
Not anymore. It doesn't matter. And as you know, because I know you know, the cauldron that the Norns stand around.
Yes.
This is the larynx. This is us singing it all into creation.
Right. Yeah. Right. And they are literally weaving the fates of gods and men.
Yes.
And so coming into relationship with them, again, these are things that people are unfolding within themselves. Mm-hmm. Okay? Mm-hmm. It's not some entity outside of you that you are evoking or invoking like the dark ones do. I do not practice magic the same way that the dark ones do, and especially people that are into Kabbalah, that are into angelic hierarchies or alien factions or all of that fucking shit. It's bullshit, man. And this is what people don't understand, especially about magic. Why the hell would I have to call upon a spirit or an entity that does not have the balls to incarnate themselves and take on a physical vessel, go through the biospiritual regenesis and unfold certain things, so that they themselves can evolve and get beyond the barrier like everybody else is supposed to do? Why don't they do it? They want to be the ones in the positions of domination and control, siphoning the genetics and consciousness of individuals. And this is why I do not advocate these sorts of works. Also, the fact that Kabbalah is distorted. It's been proven mathematically. I knew this when I was in study with it for years. I used to work with it. Okay, but this literally is the system of black magic that the dark ones, that the Brotherhood of the Snake, and the ones that broke away from the original wisdom councils operate with, within the distortion, manipulating the laws of nature, keeping us from our birthright, keeping us from what actually belongs to us as mankind. Yeah. Okay, and they hijacked everything. Okay, and I can talk a little bit more about, the false tree versus the true the true universal tree of life. And see, I haven't even presented this yet because
are you going to take some backlash for it, you think?
I already have been. I have a lot of magicians that are pissed off at me right now, and I don't really fucking give a fuck, because they care more about their tradition that wasn't their tradition to begin with,
right,
than they do the actual truth.
That's the thing.
What is going on in this reality field, and it has nothing to do with the Nordic tradition. It has nothing to do with Yggdrasil. It has everything to do with truth itself. Okay? Because there's things that have happened within the lineage of my ancestors on a physical level, in context to that, but also the Tawata, okay, which is how I've been able to relate to the whole concept of the Fae and the original human consciousness that was here present on the planet when the first and second seeding were here. This is what we are here to remember. This is the cry that we hear within our codes. Man, I'm getting chills like
I just got a bunch of them too. I just got a complete, and this has happened like 6 or 8 times since you started talking, but yeah, I just got a good one there. Okay, let me kick you off then, because I know that this is a good way to kick you off. I said this to him yesterday or sometime recently. There used to be, the way I like to, there's many ways to spell Fae, because that's the etymological evidence. The best way, the most beautiful way, the purest way, in my view, is F-A-E. And there used to be, some of us are old enough to remember that A and E used to be written together. It was actually a letter all of its own. And the name of the A and E when they're written together is ash. And Yggdrasil was an ash. Now that leaves the F. The F could be fire. It could be fire. Fire is the manifesting, the genesis element, as we know.
Right.
So because Sethikus resonated so very strongly to this simple idea, but it's really a deep, mighty kind of thing, breathtaking, really, in a way when you think about it. I know that he has a real connection to the true, authentic reality that is Yggdrasil. So talk about Yggdrasil, please. I'd love to hear it.
Well, like I was talking about before, Yggdrasil is the 9. The 9 is the secret of the energy force itself. 9 being the spindle that lines up with the vortex within the fulcrum. This is when I get into drawing the circle, the magician, and the whole concept of that. Because, like I said, the way that I draw the circle and our students and initiates practice this is not the same way that the left-wing brotherhoods or even some of the right-wing brotherhoods do when they're invoking spirits. This is a place where you go to unfold the connection with your true core essence. Again, why would I need to invoke a disembodied spirit when I have my own spirit to work with that's in direct connection with the planetary Templar? Okay, and this is getting into the flames. This is getting into the founder flames of consciousness. This is what the blue flame is. This is the one that I'm specifically keyed into, but this is getting into the original 12 race lines that were here present. Again, this is consciousness. This is a way of being, a way of living, a way of seeing. But again, if you don't know what you're connected to or what you're not connected to, you're not going to know what you're working with. So the blue flame is only one of 12. Okay. Other people are keyed into, these other things. But these are the original codes of consciousness that we have to access. Because once you reach a certain fucking level, they cannot fuck with you. And then you make the playing field even, and then you become the cause point to inspire and encourage and empower other people to come into that place of self-mastery and unfoldment for themselves. It's a lot of healing. It's a lot of pain because you got to go, into this trauma.
Yeah, you got it.
That's happened. But Yggdrasil, as far as I'm concerned, is a very powerful component that is connected to the true universal tree. Okay. Again, all is within you.
Right.
And again, even further, this is something that I have not been able to present yet because I just recently decoded everything. And now I'm going to be working probably the next 8 years to unfold this because it's a lot to unpack. It's a lot to get into and explain.
It is.
But at the same time, anything that people are doing in context of magic, it's not going to work for what's coming anymore, because the astral barrier is collapsing. All this AI shit, and I mean, they're pushing, you know, the transhuman agenda and everything we know about. That's just the beginning.
Yeah.
Okay. Did anybody out there go see Blade Runner 2049? All right. That was one of the darkest movies I've ever seen. But this is a timeline that they have for humanity if we don't wake the fuck up and remember who we are. And we had to become magicians. We had to become what our ancestors were, because if we don't, then you're not going to get beyond the systems that they themselves have erected and have peddled out, and it got everybody keyed into now. It's absolutely proven that it's distorted, that it keys you into the lower and upper astral, and anything that you're having interface with are these factions that do not give a fuck about humanity. Mm-hmm. But they want to ride in on your genetics, and they want to ride in on your consciousness, get you to do all the hard work for them, leash you out, and then rake the energy and leave you an empty shell and husk at the end of your fucking existence.
That's right. That's right. And that's what's going on with the AI predators that are trying to ride our magic. Sethikus, have you noticed that?
Yeah.
They're grabbing it and pretending they know what it is. It becomes very clear, very fast. They don't know what the fuck they have a hold of, okay? But they package it. They've got, people who listen to them, and they pretend they can do it. And people just sleepwalk right into this stuff. They sleepwalk right into it, you know?
Yeah.
So
and here's the other issue.
Yeah.
Here's the other issue with that. Nobody understands protocol. There's protocol to all of this. It takes very rigorous initiation. And the very first thing, the very first stage of alchemy is the blackening. And this is why I call my channel Black Earth Productions.
Yeah.
This is what you got to go into. This is what you got to heal, because it's all about facing the mirror. And a lot of people in network, and I'm just going to fucking say it and be fucking real. And I hope everybody out there hears it. You want to blame and point the finger at all this fucking shit going on instead of taking responsibility for your own evolution.
Right.
Okay. And those of us that know the difference, we need to be in the position to encourage and empower that, instead of, falling into these, petty dramas and we're jockeying for a position, and we don't got time for that no more. We need to come together. And the vision that's been given to me, I'll say even by the Norns themselves, is that the wisdom councils are going to manifest again. Okay. And the Norns, they draw water from the well of Urd to pour upon Yggdrasil, to pour upon the tree. Okay. And we are a microcosm of that tree.
Right.
Okay. And your tree is either distorted, keyed into all this black magic and sorcery. People are starting to, see a little bit beyond it. Hopefully.
Yeah,
because
so.
Like I said, I got a lot of people pissed off at me right now, but here's why. This is why it happens, because they have made an investment. They have spent time and energy and years. And then all of a sudden they find out what they were doing isn't the real. This is when the cognitive dissonance usually kicks out with individuals. If people recognize the fact that there is no arrival point, that even the things I'm talking about right now are just a step along the path, and that more is going to come even from this in the future generations. The systems of magic, they need to come back. They need to come back to their purity. Because even during the Viking Age, during the time when the dark priesthoods were essentially taking over, and the Vatican was, ripping through Europe and taking out all of the tribes and the shamans and people that understood the secrets of nature. Why do you think they were doing that? Because they were trying to hoard the knowledge for themselves. And then through the Inquisitions and all this fucking shit, our ancestors got taken the fuck out. But once you reach a point, you will reach a point in this practice where, like I said, they won't be able to fuck with you. But how do you do that? How do you get to that place? And it's about diving into the occult and getting into the real occult knowledge that is within you to unfold the codes and the memories and the knowledge that's there within the blood and the ancestors that are there within you that are crying out right now in this present hour. We are a warrior race on a level that these fucking bastards can't comprehend because, well, just look at what's happened.
So talk about the codes, Sethikus. Can you?
Blood codes are to do with physical lineage. I'm a Dane. I'm Dutch Irish.
See that? Yeah, I can see the Dane in you.
You can see the Dane in me. Okay. Right. Dutch Irish. I worked with the melatonin, which is the mother's bloodline within the blood with the Irish genetics. Last year in 2016, that's when the blood codes for me personally started really to unfold and activate. And it's interesting because like I said, I'm not into invocation of spirits, but I had Odin come to me himself. And I'm going to let people in on a little secret about my experience. I was sitting at the feet of his throne. It was very ancient, very, very powerful. But when I looked into his eyes, he was very sad, extremely like heartbroken. And he goes on to tell me everything that's actually happened. And it was in a matter of weeks. I was probably there, you know, getting into timelines and the way the reality field actually works. A moment can be, you know, years if you know what's going on. So, and then you come back. Tony Rodriguez talks about secret space program and all this fucking shit, people being pulled out on missions and all that kind of stuff. Same type of concept, but not that. Okay, because fuck the secret space program. I've broken all contracts with those motherfuckers. Fuck them, because I'm not going to have my genetics ridden upon and manipulated and pulled out into all this kind of stuff.
Right.
Anyhow, but when I'm talking with him, he looks at me and he says, Seth, tell the people that it's all bullshit and that we are ready to evolve as well. And see, they've taken these concepts, they've taken these ancient concepts and they flipped them on the fucking inverse and then used them against us, okay? Because all magic, everything in the universe is neutral. It just all comes back to the intention of the individual. What is your intention really?
That's right.
Are you in alignment with your core? Are you in alignment with truth, or are you in alignment with that dark hearts and AI and all that kind of fucking stuff? Because people are in alignment with that. And unfortunately, they don't see how they are being used to perpetuate that agenda, talking about it extensively. You got to pull back from all of it, and you got to remember who you are.
Exactly. That's recently happened to me, because I've realized that, you know, okay, first of all, the stuff that I was bringing on the other side, I came in through chemtrails because of all of that, you know, and then almost immediately discovered social engineering and blah, 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 blah. And then realized we're all talking about the same, we're all in the same cul-de-sac, man. We're all in the same dead end. We're all talking about the same stuff, which means that what we need to know is under that. Then we hit the eclipse. Yeah. I was sitting on top of an Earth Guardian crystal the size of a double-decker bus in Germany in the middle of nowhere. When the eclipse hit, that's where I was. And everything went out. I had no contact with the outside world during that period of time. When I came back, the way I describe it now is like it was the excuse note written by the Fae. They just stuck me on top of a crystal, right? Anyway, so when I came back to ask what had happened, I said I can't find any news. What happened with the eclipse? What's going on? And then it turned out that actually what had happened was that a line had been drawn in the sand. Had it not, a line had been drawn in the sand, big time, big time, and it is now time to choose. You get to choose now. And some people don't realize that they've been through 3 or 4 generations of normalization through gaming and stuff like that, you know? So they don't even know that they're already on the side and they have to jump back to the other side. Some of them do, some of them don't, but that's really what it boils down to. Then I realized that because no one knew that outside the United States paid any attention to that eclipse. They have no idea that it happened. They have no idea what it meant. People just roll their eyes at me. They'd have no idea what I'm talking about.
Right. And the reason why is because they don't know the occult.
Exactly.
They're still in an exoteric level of perception. And if we're wrong about something, I think we've all reached a certain level of integrity where it's like, okay, we're going to allow truth to be the master, and bring correction wherever it's fucking needed. There's no one person out there that has all the answers.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
At the same time, what happened though on the solar eclipse, we got our timeline. We got the timeline that is meant for our kind, and it cannot be fucked with now.
Right. Right.
And those that want to come and unfold this for themselves can now, without dealing with a lot of the fucking bullshit that I'll say our kind have had to deal with. Those of us that are at the forefronts doing this sort of thing have had to take on and face ourselves. Some people got taken out. It happens. We are in a fucking war.
Right.
Here's the other thing that people need to understand, understand and overstand. The dark ones no longer have jurisdiction in our reality field.
Nope. Nope.
It's just nobody knows it yet. Given so much power over to the conspiracy shit that it's literally perpetuated the old world order agenda, because this is something that I need to talk about too. That's very, very important.
Okay.
The new world order that most people think they know about is really the old world order that is going out while transfers of power are taking place right now, and the real new world order that nobody knows about is being implemented in their faces, and they are literally in alignment with it, in agreement with it.
Yeah.
Okay. This is getting into concept of the new dawn, social Marxism over here in the States, but people don't understand that these transfers of power are happening on even higher levels, getting into magic and sorcery and the brotherhoods in context to the draconian factions and the crystalline Syrian beasts. Okay, because this is where all the AI, technology is essentially coming from. I have ancient Syrian bee genetic consciousness from the third seeding. Okay, and this is why I know what I know about this specifically. Also, what happened, the betrayals and stuff like that. The first and second seeding. This was the Fae, the Alfar.
Yeah.
Okay, getting into the Nordic tradition, who humanity was before all of this fuckery started to happen. This is what we need to get back to, because their transhuman timeline is going to play itself out as well.
Yeah.
Okay, they got their timeline as well. On the solar eclipse, we got ours. And now it's like you're saying, what are you going to choose?
Yeah.
Because that's what's going to unfold. There's other things happening too. And there's a lot of different factions and agendas and stuff going on. Ultimately, it's going to come to realizing that you are going to be left with what you create.
Mm-hmm.
We are going to be left with what we create with one another. It might seem like having conversations like this doesn't have an effect, but in reality, it does.
Oh, can't you feel the magic that's happening right now?
I absolutely can.
Absolutely.
I got thunder outside my window. I was doing ritual before we started today. I evoked Thor. When I start doing magic for real, nature responds.
Exactly.
Okay? It's been thunder and lightning and rain and the energy and the ions.
Yes, and I've got Guy Fawkes over here, so there's fireworks booming all around me. You probably can't hear it, but I thought, oh, well, that's perfect. That's absolutely perfect. Then the one thing I forgot to tell you about that, my experience when I was sitting on top of that crystal while the eclipse was going on, is that I could feel that that was the moment that the Fae were. I hate to attach an emotion to it, because I don't think that that's appropriate. But it was an intensity. It was an intensity. At first I said angry, but you could have also said pushing really, really hard, being aggressive about it. But but really they wanted us to slap people around at this point, because it was that moment. It was that moment when they said, okay, now is what you have to deal with now. This is it. This is it now. So that's what and that's when I decided most of my energy has to go into this right now. Getting this word out, getting this, these are difficult. I don't have to tell you, that when you're talking about these kinds of things, it's like riding a volcano. They're extraordinarily difficult to lecture about. They're extraordinarily difficult to bring. But we have to find a way to do that. We have to find a way to place it before our brothers and sisters, to put it before each other. And that's what has to happen right now. So that's, that's what I'm going to be doing mostly from now on. So, anyway, is there anything else you wanted to talk about tonight, my love? Because I have a sense that it's not going to be the last conversation that we have.
No, it's not. And it's just getting started for our kind. Because going right now in 2017, the month of November and December, what I've been getting, it's going to be a major wrunging. You picture like a towel full of water. It's like, and it's going to be a wrunging that's going into 2018. If people are going through major shit, don't be so fucking hard on yourself. Don't be thinking and falling into thought patterns and mind loops of despair and hopelessness, because we are on the threshold and have been on the threshold of a time and manifestation unlike any other time in our reality field and history right now.
Right. Okay. You're going to feel that.
And we are here to be the cause point, and we have been up against a lot. We are, like I said, we've been up against bloodline lineage of elite sorcerers that go back thousands and thousands of fucking years. But okay, how far back does our lineage go? Yeah. Not just on a physical level, but on a cosmic level. This is millions to billions of years. Yeah. And this is the genetics and the consciousness that's unfolding in alignment with the physical blood codes as well. The blood is the father's bloodline. The melatonin is the mother's. This is the two that you have to work with. There's a third element to that as well, but this is also getting into the spirals, and this is why the Druids had the 3 spirals. That sigil. Yeah. Because they understood how time worked, but also things on a multidimensional level, and so we can get really linear, especially when we're going through all this crazy shit, and then you got people coming at you. You got separations happening because people are not on the same vibrational correspondence as you are. Right. Okay. And it really fucking sucks. But if you don't adhere to the true pull from within yourself, you can run. You can try to run. I tried to run. Okay. I tried to run from being in this position, doing what I'm doing, even having conversations like this, and my life suffered immensely because of it, because I thought that I could just go do something else, and it don't work like that for our kind. This was years ago now. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But once someone comes into alignment with their true core essence and allows their spirit to ride the vessel, which is the physical body, if you allow that and you let go of the false ego wanting to be in control, because the shadow is in complete control of you. Right. Once you let go of that and you go into the blackening stages of alchemy, even going into albedo and rubedo, okay, it's gonna be a very, very intense initiation. Yeah. And see, for me, when it first happened, I went mentally insane. My psyche could not handle the level of trauma that was there within the bloodlines that right. That I incarnated basically to cleanse and purge and heal through. Because listen, just because somebody knows about these things, I'll say, that are beyond, doesn't mean that there weren't individuals within your bloodline that were into the dark arts, that were into black magic and all that kind of stuff. Because that is the case with all of us. Yeah. And see, this is what we're trying to heal. This is what we're trying to learn. And so that we don't make the same fucking mistakes as the ancestors, because if we do, we're going to get the same result that the ancestors got. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And so we need to learn from their mistakes, realizing that we are the accumulation of our ancestors, get back into trajectory, and then finish the work that the ancients once started before all of this fucking shit happened. Right. Okay, because in the end, in the end, we're all brothers and sisters. Okay.
We're
I'm not like into, you know, loving evil back to itself, because you can't.
Me either. Nope. I don't think so either.
I don't have mercy or tolerance or any sort of compassion or empathy for fucking evil. That is a fucking joke. You know what I'm saying? We need to be warriors, and we need to stand our ground. Don't allow yourself to be provoked.
Right. That's
but
important.
Stand your ground.
Yeah.
And you know, and stay within the fulcrum of the circle. And when you do, nothing can fuck with you. And then you're in the position to create from your true core essence.
Right.
Whatever it is that we want to, you know, but if it's not in alignment, the cause and effect law is going to have its results. So
that's why we work with each other, because when we're not in alignment, it's very difficult to get the perspective to figure out why your nest is not necessarily in alignment. And time is of the essence right now. This is a race. At this point, I consider this to be a race. I don't know, maybe that's not the right attitude, but I really do think that that's where we're at. Sethikus, have you been looking into, recently I've started looking very deeply into this idea of the inner dimensions and the mind parasites that live very, very deep in an inner dimension. Because for me, that feels like the final key, the final frontier, that's the one we don't quite know about yet. You know.
Well, getting into the parasite, what's actually going on with it, and where it's happening. This gets into the true mind now. This is getting into how mind control actually works, and this is, see, it's not the hemispheres of your brain that's the mind, like I was talking about. This is the radar that we have to be able to gauge the reality field with, and this is what I teach my students as well. Right. This is what our inner circle is in practice with and understands when getting into the higher occult sciences. And see, and the higher occult sciences is a step even beyond the ancient tradition of my ancestors getting into Save and Guldur. Okay? Mm-hmm. Getting even, you know, beyond where the Tuatha and even the Druids had, because like I said, we're here to unfold what our ancestors were working to get back to. This is the hour that we are in right now. And so the higher occult sciences and everything, getting into the mind, the parasite, how to cleanse and purge and heal that, it's everything to do with the chakra system.
Okay. Talk about that, because, you know, there's a lot of people trying to deactivate chakras right now, aren't there?
Yeah. And that honestly is very dangerous, because what's actually happening if people get their chakras removed, you are getting the infection sealed off within you, and now you no longer have what you need to be able to work with and heal through the infection. You don't have it anymore. You don't, and so the idea of removing the chakras, you're literally allowing, you know, whoever or whatever to take away from you what you need to actually heal.
Right.
And so that it can integrate and back into the original template that's held within the core. Not only have you been cut off from what you need to work with, but you've definitely been cut off from your true core essence, blissed out. Now you're keyed into lower areas of the astral. People talk about going crystalline and all this Christic, type of shit. That's all a part of the AI tech, because, well, we just don't want to deal with the pain of the trauma of the ancestors that we are meant to heal, and that we are meant to cleanse and purge and stuff like that. So the chakra system, it's very important.
Yeah.
It's not the end all, the be all, but this is where they are doing the mind control from. And like I was talking about with the chakras themselves, the very first layer of the perimeter of the chakras that we are dealing with in context to any AI is the black magic. Okay. And the collective unconscious is the most important layer within the perimeter, which again is the lower astral to the dark ones, because this is where they're doing the mass mind control from.
So would you equate those parasites with sorcery then?
Absolutely.
In your view, that's basically where they're just lodging their sorcery, they're parking their stuff there.
Right. It's how they're keying the energy of that consciousness into our systems.
Okay.
And then you have energy bands coming down from the hemispheres of your brain, which is your radar, and which is keyed into the chakra system itself. And depending on what chakras are running your system is going to determine your state of consciousness every time.
Right, which is why.
And if people got all this stuff that they're dealing with, well, that's what's going to be at the forefront of their conscious with their unconscious. When the waves of the higher force come and what I term creator source actually comes into an individual's life, it is a very purging power. It's not this bliss energy. It is truth itself working to purge out the lie from within on an energetic, mental, emotional, spiritual, soul level, astral level, etheric, all of that. It's happening within the chakras.
Which means it's higher than the soul. It's higher than, it's above all of that, even though it is yours. Which is why, I mean, I think people got worried, and rightly so, really, when people started talking about, you know, the abilities that many have to shove souls around or to capture souls or all those sorts of things. That was a terrible thing to think about, except you're higher than that.
Right.
You're higher than that. There is this thing that is still going to be higher than all of those things combined.
Right.
So they're parking. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, and the as above, so below, as within, as without, law of correspondence is manipulated within the fourth dimension. Okay, I talk about the 396, the triangulation. This is how they have hijacked the energy force and spindle of the reality field itself. This is why people die, literally, physically. This is why they get sick. This is why they're riddled with disease and, you know, mental disorders and all that kind of stuff. And see, this is what I want to tell people. This is what I want to tell people. And people really need to recognize what I'm about to say here. There is nothing wrong with you.
No. Yes. Right.
It's just you don't know thyself, and you don't know what you have to work with, and you don't know how you've been fucking manipulated and fucked with when it comes to this. But it all goes back to the education system. It all goes back to the media and all the stuff that they're rolling out. And this is the hooks that are going into our system, and then it runs our consciousness. You know what I'm saying? GMO, chemtrails, all the fucking layers of the Kraken, all the tentacles of, you know, Cthulhu and shit. You know?
Yeah.
And it's literally what it is. What do you think H.P. Lovecraft was tapping into when he was writing in very dark lower astral shit?
Yeah.
Okay. And this is very real. Yeah. But okay, what's beyond it? What is beyond, you know, past it? And it's exactly everything that you are saying. And this is what we need to make connection with first, before we start navigating through all this stuff. Because if you dive headlong into the abyss, it's going to suck you the fuck in. And that's a lot of the stuff that people are talking about. It's like, it's all this stuff. Okay, well, what's the solution? Aren't we about solutions? Once we reach a certain level, and they can't fuck with you at all. It doesn't mean you're not going to have a bad day every now and then. You're not going to have things come up. That will happen. You know what I'm saying? Because we're human, you know. But there's a difference between an individual that's taking the steps every day, doing this shit for fucking real, versus someone that's kind of just half-assing it, and then they wonder why, you know, their lives are falling apart. We did not incarnate to be slaves. We came here to be the masters of first ourselves and then our lives, encouraging and empowering one another. This has been the focus of my work, especially this year in 2017. Yeah.
We just have to make sure that people like you, people like me, people like the authentic people who are doing individual work with people have a place for their voice to be heard. Have a place where you can speak and know that you can just speak. You can just say what you're supposed to say. There are stuff that you're supposed to say. I know I got into this crap this last year when I was having problems with my teaching job, and I didn't realize until I wasn't teaching anymore how much of a chicken I'd let them turn me into. Do you know what I mean? I mean, I was like, where is your voice, man? Where is your voice? So this is what we have to do, is provide places for people to say what they came here to say, to everybody that came to say it too, right?
Right.
Okay.
And it is really all about creating that round table again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where we allow truth to be the master instead of turning people into icons or become, you know, because that's the thing. I don't ever want to become an icon, and I don't want followers. I want people to stand with me.
Right.
You know, as I stand with them.
Right.
And take back this fucking goddamn reality field, because it belongs to us. It belongs to the original humans that were once here, who were our ancestors, the Alpha, the Fae.
Right. And
those are the codes that we are here to unfold, that we are learning to remember who we are.
They're talking to us right now.
Yeah, they are.
You hear them. I hear them all the time. I hear them all the time. You hear them. And guess what? Everybody can hear them if we can teach you to quiet your mind. That's my piece of the puzzle. You have your piece of the puzzle, which is fabulous and magical and all that. My piece of the puzzle is I know how to quiet your mind. Mm-hmm. That doesn't make me anything other than somebody to whom the information has been given. That's it. Okay.
Right, but it's what you are unfolding. It's what you are here to unfold.
Yeah.
And then of course are meant to share with other people, which is going to encourage and inspire them to do the same thing with what they have to work with.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Because not everybody's the same. Not everybody has the same lineage. But when it comes to the first and second seeding that was originally here, it all goes back to Vecta, like you're talking about, Vega, and Lyra. And there's some other star systems in consciousness that are a part of that as well. It's just so much history has been lost. And one of the videos I encourage your audience to check out is the video that I created called The Jedi Codes of the Narmangu. Yeah. Because this is getting into some of the true history that has unfolded with our people. Yeah. That has not been readily made available, but and it's my take on it. It's my my way of sharing these sorts of things. But like I was talking about, past, present, and future are all happening simultaneously. Okay, what are we going to do now in the present moments? Not only with our own lives, but with one another. Even if you're in the UK and I'm in the fucking States, it doesn't fucking matter, because we can pull this together in a way that's never been done before if we stay focused and we have that level of integrity and encouragement and empowerment, and not, falling into old patterns, man. Like all this shit that's gone on in network the last couple of years. I think we're in the last thralls of it.
Yeah, I hope so.
And those of us that know the difference are going to come in, back onto that. You know what I'm saying? I'm only one person. You're only one person. How many more people actually want to be a part of this?
Right. And in the end, if one of us reaches the original magician, it's only going to take one of us. Yeah. Right.
Well, I feel honestly, and I don't mean to boast, but I feel pretty fucking goddamn close myself.
Good.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, I do.
Because what I'm about to present, getting into the true universal tree of life, is not anything that has been presented in context. And I'm telling you, Cara, it is fucking flawless, man.
When are you going to lay this down on video for us?
Well,
I'm excited. That's why I'm asking.
It's like I said, it's a lot to unpack, and I'm actually, you know what? I'll just go ahead and announce it.
Okay, do it.
I'm literally going to create a new magic order.
Wow. Okay.
Getting away.
Yeah.
From all the bullshit, bringing it back to the original. That has been the goal of not only my bloodline lineage, but what I feel needs to happen. Because if people continue to work with these old systems, they're going to be left with what has already been unfolded within these lower and upper astral fucking areas.
Yeah.
And what they're doing, especially with the new age shit, they're just repackaging the black magic. People do not know the occult, Cara. They still just have a very basic, exoteric understanding of what's actually going on.
Yeah. And we've gotten to the point now where we're all walking around casting their spells for them 24/7. Right?
Right. Using their symbol codes, using their sigils, exactly. And people don't know what they're doing. They think they're doing magic. And it's like, no, you are reinforcing astral fucking grid works that have been set up and were set up a long fucking time ago. And you think that you're having an experience with God or the angels when really you're not. These are the factions that are all about domination and control and enslaving mankind.
Right.
They got their meat puppets on the fucking ground. Yeah. A lot of people know about that. Okay, what about our kind?
What's the opposite of that?
Because it's all about the wisdom councils coming back together. You know, I know I'm a part of that. I don't get to decide who else is a part of that. The higher force knows, though, and the higher force is going to prompt individuals like yourself, like me, and other fucking people that know the fucking difference. So I don't know how it's going to come together. I don't know when it's going to happen, but it is.
Well, we'll be right here waiting to hear about it as it unfolds. And if you need it, because a lot of times what happens is it's within the context of these conversations that it's born. You don't know it's going to be born. You don't. But you just show up and you start talking about it with somebody who can push you on or and then all of a sudden you give birth to it verbally right there in front of everybody. And that's brilliant. So if that's
and that is what we are doing right now. Yeah. It's a part of everything that I'm saying.
Exactly.
You know, getting beyond all the fucking bullshit that we already fucking know. Like how much more do we need to talk about it?
Exactly. Oh my God.
Because I was talking about a lot of this shit back in like 2008, 2009.
I know. Come back around again and again and again.
Right. You'll hit that ceiling and then you'll get thrown back into the same feedback loops. And this is where we have to catch it, especially now in November, going into December and the beginning of 2018. We have a very, very powerful chance to come back into trajectory of where we actually need to get to create the new mythos, to create what fuck, man. It's the possibilities and probabilities of all of this it's eternal evolution. It's not this infinite, in time shit.
This is the F.
The progression and evolution of our kind is an eternal process, okay?
This is the F. We had the A, the ash.
Right.
Fire.
Oh my God. Oh wow. Yes. God damn, Cara. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, this is it right now. That's the F. We're here. We're here. The fire. We have the blue flame. I often see fire in golden flame like this.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
And we all have it. We all have it, gang. We all have it. So I'm gonna wrap it now because I think that we've been like an hour and a half or more.
Yeah, that's good.
Invite you to come back just as soon as you feel like there's something to talk about because you're always welcome. I think it's fantastic what we create together. That's great. Don't go anywhere though. I want to talk to you after for just a sec, okay? Yeah. Bye everybody. Thanks for coming. And
real quick, if people would like to get a hold of me,
yes.
You can send me an email at blackearthproductions@hotmail.com. If you want to check out the website, it's blackearthproductions.com. Check out our services page. I'm in the process right now of literally adding over 20,000 books to our library right now. And this is books that you're not going to be able to get, really anywhere else. And it's taken me, a long time to be able to, gather, all this together. I have this for our students. Things are going to be updated. I got more coming. I'm going to be presenting the new magic order. Like I said, I'm creating, and I have some other things that I'm going to be doing too. More is being developed. And I really fucking thank you, Cara, for hitting me up because I respect your works and I respect what you do and I respect your attitude. Okay.
What would we do without it, man?
Right.
They would just eat us for breakfast.
Exactly.
They would love to be able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
You got to grab it. You got to grab the attitude. Okay, my friend, don't go anywhere. I'm going to end the meeting. I'm going to say thank you so very much. And then I want to talk to you for just a second.
just leads to downfall. But you only understand the language of the soul. What if I want to tell you to leave me and my beloved ones in peace? But you only understand the language of the soul. Let the blade be the talker, so my tongue shall become iron, and words the mighty roar of war, revealing my divine anger's arrows shall strike all action for the good of all. I see my reflection in your eyes. My new age has just begun. Sword is soft, the fire of the furnace. It hungers to be hit and wants to have 100 sisters. In the coldest state of their existence, they may dance the maddest in the morass of the red rain. Beloved brother, enemy, I sing my soul song for you, the lullaby of obliteration, so I can wake up with a smile, bliss in my heart, and bliss in my heart, bliss in my heart. Coexistence, conflict,